WHNZ-AM, its staff, management, or parent company, Clear Channel Communications Incorporated.
This is the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Jamie Meloni.
Hi there, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. You'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. In studio with me today, I got my co-host, Stella Giudicelli, a fellow realtor with Coldwell Banker. Stella, how are you doing today?
You know, I'm feeling very summery today.
Very what?
Summery? Like summertime.
I don't even know what that means. Summery, summertime.
Okay, I'm being French, I guess.
That's a French accent. Anyways,
it's summertime, and I'm feeling the summertime.
Well, that's good to know. It's definitely, summertime's just around the corner here in the sunny Tampa Bay region.
Sunny again.
So anyways, thanks for being on the show. And first guest on my show today, happy to have Ryan Serhant. He is the star of $1 Million Listing New York, and that show airs every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. And Ryan Serhant, he is the Executive Vice President and Managing Director of Nest Seekers International, and in less than 5 years in New York City, he has sold nearly $1 billion in real estate and was ranked as one of the top 20 real estate brokers out of 28,000 brokers in New York City by The Real Deal magazine. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. Ryan, I've watched your show for the past 2 seasons, and now into the 3rd season. I'm very impressed with your dedicated work ethic and high-energy approach to real estate. How do you stay so competitive in New York City, probably one of the most competitive real estate markets, in the country?
That's a good question, actually, and I get asked that a lot. I think I'm able to stay competitive because the business is competitive. I mean, if you're not competitive by nature, if you're not a fighter by nature, if you don't want to do more and more and more every day by nature, then you're not going to be able to do this business in New York City because there's just too many other people that want it more than you do. I play motivational speeches from sports movies for new agents that I meet or that I'm training, just because it's the same thing, right? I mean, how badly do you want it? Just because there's 30,000 other real estate agents south of 96th Street who want it more than you.
And I'm, very impressed. I was watching, an interview with you, and you were talking about your daily schedule. Tell me a little bit in the audience about that. I mean, you're getting up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning to begin your day. Tell us a little bit about that.
Just before 4:30.
That's incredible.
I learned early on, as I was working with, a lot of other brokers and kind of seeing and
monitoring
where people were succeeding and where they were not succeeding. And I think it's tough for people to be their own boss. Mm-hmm. When you're a real estate agent, yes, there's a lot of other real estate agents, and yes, you're working with clients, and yes, you do have a boss who's your, licensed broker where you hang your license, or maybe you have a manager, but you don't get paid unless you make money. So
Mm-hmm.
unless you succeed, right, then
Right.
you starve. So I looked around and saw that the top brokers, and this was like 5 years ago, were very structured. They had someone specifically who only managed their calendar and their schedule. They had, junior brokers underneath them who were helping them with showings for other brokers. Their days were very, very, very structured so that they were getting the absolute most done in any given day because they have to be their own CEO, CFO, and COO of their own individual company. So that's the reason I'm so structured, is because I don't know how else I would be able to stay on top of everything I have going on and building new business at the same time if I just kind of woke up and said, what am I going to do today?
Right. Now, the show, the $1 Million Listing show in New York, has spun you as kind of the single bachelor type that is real estate focused 24/7. Just a question, is this accurate? And, I just recall, the Hurricane Sandy episode where that storm came through the upper Northeast there, and it kind of spun you as kind of, when the city shut down, the real estate business, was impacted by, the storm. It kind of spun you as, being alone and kind of reflecting on, not having, a family and friends that, you had developed significant relationships with. Is that accurate? And are you looking to kind of develop, that more in your business? Because I know that's also a challenge with myself, that I spend so much time in the business. It's hard to develop, meaningful relationships outside of the business.
That's also a good question. It is definitely difficult, I will say that. Yes, Million Dollar Listing season 1 and 2 portray me very much as a bachelor party boy. He's good at what he does, but is also kind of crazy. And this season is actually a little bit terrifying for me. We haven't even gotten to the episodes that are going to be, a little bit hard for me to watch because they get very, very, very personal. And that was something that I chose to do this year, just because I was a little bit tired of watching, basically 22 episodes over season 1 and season 2 of me just kind of being a little bit, shallow, let's say, kind of sarcastic all the time. And that's really not the way I am all the time, right? I mean, this show, they follow us, but they're not with me, 24/7. And so this year I really wanted to show, kind of just peel back the onion a little bit. And so you get to see that and the difficulties that I have with maintaining friendships and relationships, because I don't just have a 9 to 5, because, I need to make money. I need to work. If a client calls me at 11 p.m. and they're trying to get out of a deal because they're nervous about it, I need to be able to leave my bed or leave, wherever I am and go and meet with that client and calm them down and, take them out for a drink until 4 a.m. And then, get the deal done, then go home, change in my workout clothes, and just go to the gym and start the day all over again.
Yeah, and that's something
and
a lot of...
That kind of lifestyle doesn't work for us.
Yeah, and it's something that I have a challenge with in my own life. When business calls, I'm quick to jump on it, as I see that you are too, and it can be very difficult for top producing real estate brokers in the business to develop relationships that truly step away from the work that we're involved in.
Yes.
Now the show,
I agree with you.
Yeah, the show. Now your show is now in the 3rd season. How did you come to be selected for this show? What was the selection process like?
Well, for me, it was crazy. It was strictly an open call. I didn't know anybody. I hadn't pitched myself to anybody. They put a casting notice in The Real Deal and on Curbed. And then basically the word got around between all the brokerages and, the agents that Million Dollar Listing New York was going to start, and they're casting it. So literally every single agent in the city under the age of 35 started walking around town saying, yeah, no, I'm doing that show. I'm doing that show. Yeah, they called me. It's cool. I don't know if I really want to do it, though. I don't know if I want to be a Kardashian.
Right.
And then I went to a casting call when they did finally come and do it at the Hudson Hotel with like 3,000 other people, and embarked on this 6-month casting process, and then didn't hear anything for a couple months, and then they called back and said, we've narrowed it down to 1,500, and you're one of those, so we want you to do this. It's like, great. And then didn't hear anything, and then they would call back and say, sorry, we've just been so busy, we've narrowed it down to this many. And here I am 3 years later.
It's very, very... I've greatly enjoyed the show, but does the show itself get business for you, or is this something you just kind of use as a marketing piece to get you in front of different sellers and buyers?
Both. It is a marketing piece. It is a commercial for myself on primetime television that is aired all over the world. And I'm a salesman. Like I said, I don't get a salary. No one cares. I only make money when I succeed at my job, which is selling homes. So the more people who know what I sell, the better. But
do you find the show gets you business, but you use it obviously to market?
Yeah,
you
people
do?
see it, and they don't know a broker. Not everyone is best friends with a real estate agent. And so if they don't know a real estate agent, and they reach out to me, they know that by seeing the show that I'm a real estate broker. I live and work in New York City, and if they're looking for a home, they reach out. I get calls every single day, like literally every single day. A lot of it is from crazy people, or people wanting me to sell their house in Panama, which I can't do, nor would I want to do. But it's been great for business. I would literally say from the day I started the show until now, my business is dectupled.
That's very interesting, very exciting to hear as well. Ryan, so please stay tuned. I've got to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. On air, we've got Ryan Serhant, star of $1 Million Listing, which airs every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. Please stay tuned. Be back in a moment.
Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Now, Ryan, I'm very impressed, with your outside-of-the-box thinking to get your listing sold, specifically the listing on $1 Million Listing where the owner greatly restricted your ability to show and market the property, and you, unbeknownst to him, allowed a music group to film a music video inside his apartment, and then you used that video to take the home to the marketplace. Tell us a little bit more about this and how you were able to smooth over the situation when the owner found out.
How do I want to answer this question? I was very nervous when that episode came out because I felt like, when you watch it on TV, it's very different from when we do it in real life, right? And the way it felt to me anyway, when I was watching on the show was, like I was doing something very bad, and it almost seemed like I was like breaking and entering,
right,
which I wasn't doing. But I'm a broker, right? I have to get a deal done. That's the goal. I'm not a tour guide. I'm not just trying to.
Right, but the owner wouldn't allow you to have any broker opens, and it was really tough to get people into the property.
And I had to get the word out about this apartment, and I wanted to do something that was going to make a splash and get people talking, and so I was introduced to Mary C, and the timing kind of just all worked out. She was looking for a place in the city to do this thing. I said, listen, I won't charge you. If you don't charge me, we'll do it. It'll be mutually beneficial. Let's make this work. And so that's how we did it. And then it worked, which is totally crazy. But very, very, very awesome. But that said, I try to do that all the time. And for better or for worse, I really do get bored with kind of the standard marketing techniques that brokers employ, just because I don't want to be something who, I don't want to be just a regular broker who just, takes photos of listings and sticks them on the internet and hopes they sell and do paperwork. Like, I have no intention of just turning on the lights my entire life, right? I would rather do something else. So the fact that I'm at a company that allows me to do whatever I want, and the fact that I am, able to do this show and I can kind of show off my ideas, this way I can have more fun. I mean, if this year, season 3, you made a commercial with like helicopters and Ferraris and all this stuff for one of the penthouses I'm selling at a building that has your own personal car elevator to take your car up to your penthouse. And no other broker would ever do that. One, because it's way too expensive, and two, because it's crazy.
Yeah,
but that's why I like it. I mean, that's why it's fun for me.
Yeah, I've always been very impressed with your ability, to set the bar very high with your marketing techniques. Do you develop a specific marketing plan for each listing, as opposed to just kind of throwing them all into the standard plan?
Yes, every listing is a different puzzle for me. So I also kind of develop it by price point, right? I mean, because I am running my own business, I have to look at how much I'm spending. So, it's a P&L, right? So it's profit and loss. So I'm looking at what's the potential profit on, this sale, and then I look at what I think I can allocate from that potential to the, my advertising budget. And a lot of times I then throw that number out the window and spend way too much just because I want to, and because I think it'll work, and because I think creative and interesting and successful marketing in my business pays derivatives in a way that nothing else can. So, I mean, you just asked me about that music video. I get asked about that music video, I'd say at least once every other day.
It was definitely a very entertaining
I've
episode.
gotten listings from it, just not from people who want me to make a music video in their apartment, but because they meet with 10 brokers, and they're all boring. They all come in there with the same pitch. They all say they have a great network. They all say they have great relationships. They all say they have unlimited advertising. It's the same stuff. And then they're like, oh, well, this guy makes music videos. This guy goes like above and beyond. And I don't have the standard elevator pitch. So every single listing is I strategize specifically for it.
Yeah, and it's definitely very impressive to watch you work on the television show. And I myself, if I was up in New York, I would definitely be calling you to list and sell my property. Unfortunately, I don't have any property up in New York just yet, but when I do, I'll definitely be getting you on the phone up there. So, but Ryan,
Good, I'll be ready.
Awesome to hear, Ryan. In this age of internet-based marketing, many brokers have come to rely strictly on just the internet. And I heard an interview with you recently where you were talking about the benefits of direct mail, and I listened very closely to that because that's something that a lot of brokers don't, or any salesman uses anymore. Are you still finding success from direct mail campaigns?
Huge. I mean, yes. I mean, I do a lot of direct mail because I can't walk around my neighborhood and knock on people's doors. I'll get arrested. I mean, it's New York City. So the only way I can reach people who I don't know and who have homes that they own is by direct mail. I mean, I still think, no one sends me personal letters anymore. No one writes me letters.
Right.
And the people who do write me letters, I always follow up with those people because they took the time. And in this day and age when everyone walks down the street staring at their phone instead of taking in the city around them or their neighborhood around them, who'd rather put their life in danger because they had to get that text out when they were turning a corner in their car. Little things like that, just taking a few extra seconds of your day to send a nice personal note to someone who you want to sell their home because you may have a buyer or something like that, goes a long, long way.
And
That said, I don't just do direct mailing. I mean, I do a significant amount of marketing. I spend thousands of dollars every single day just on marketing and mailers and postcards and this and that and any kind of advertising you can think of, I do it. So all of it combined helps build business and build awareness.
Very good. That's some great information. I think the personal touch of direct mail has kind of escaped the general business of real estate brokers, at least in the Tampa Bay region where I'm at. So many brokers just kind of rely on internet based marketing, and then we've lost a lot of the personal touch. So a lot of the selling agents and other realtors out there in the community that are listening to me, that's a great tip. From a great real estate professional, Ryan Serhant up in New York. Now, Ryan, one thing that is obvious about you on the show is your high level of confidence when dealing with buyers and sellers at all levels. This is also one of my core values of success. Do you feel your confidence is innate, or is this something that you've developed? And are there times when you are intimidated when approaching different sellers and buyers and representing them?
Not now. When I first started, sure, right? Because it's about experience. You always feel more comfortable talking to somebody who, you're experienced with talking to. Because you've been down that road 10,000 times and you've had that conversation 10,000 times. So, when I meet very, very big sellers who have very big properties, I know they have very big expectations, and I know that I have intense competition that I'm going up against, and I have to really prove myself. So, I treat those situations, like I treat every other situation, but, I guess I have to plan a little bit better because I want to really come up with something, a unique pitch, let's say.
So I would say that your confidence, has been developed through the business, and this is something that I try to coach other, real estate agents on. Just get out there and do it, and the confidence will come as you get in front of more buyers and sellers and representing them. So I think, just in listening to you, that you would say that your confidence has been developed in the real estate business over the past several years in which you've been an agent. Would you say that's correct?
Yes, absolutely. Your confidence always develops as your business grows. But I was always confident, for better or for worse. That was always one of my things because there was no reason not to be. I remember, even growing up, right, when I first started dating, I remember being nervous about asking a girl out, and my dad saying to me, what's the worst thing that can happen? Why don't you just ask her? I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just so nervous to do it.
Right.
Like, the worst thing can happen is she'll say no, and she'll hang up the phone. I mean, worse things have happened to you in your life. You once fell off your bike and broke your arm. That was a lot worse than a girl saying no on the phone, right?
Right.
And so when you put it into perspective like that, then it's like, oh, you're right. I mean, everybody is probably nervous. Everybody doesn't want to be rejected. So I might as well just, swing. And yes, I'm going to strike sometimes, but the more I swing, the more hits I'm going to have. So, I might as well be confident. I might as well go out there and tell everyone that I'm the absolute greatest because I believe it, and then I'll get the job done because I know I will. And if I hire anybody else, then they're doing a disservice to themselves, and it sounds like they like to light money on fire.
Gotcha. Now, Ryan, I have to ask, because a lot of people wanted me to bring this up with you. The show portrays a very competitive, almost toxic relationship between you and Frederick Eklund. Tell me, is this exaggerated, and what is your true opinion of Frederick on the show?
I think Frederick is a very successful broker. I mean, we are two very competitive people who, yes, we've had our differences, and the show shows that. But, I mean, all brokers have their differences. I mean, that's kind of the great thing about New York, is that we all have to work together. So you can have your differences, and you can fight and yell and maybe not talk to each other for a week, or you'll have a deal that goes bad and everyone's angry. But then you're going to meet each other on another deal a lot sooner than you think. So, we talk a lot. We have to do all this press for season 3 right now, and we're cordial. It's all business. It's all business. Nothing is ever personal. It's not high school.
So it's something you have a business relationship. You're obviously involved in a lot of just the show together a lot. So you would say that you all are probably business friends, at least. Would you say?
Correct.
Okay. And the other person on the show, Luis, describe your relationship with him.
Luis is a funny guy. He is the most persistent broker I have ever met, which is why I think he's doing so well so quickly. I mean, I thought I spent a lot of time on the phone. I mean, I thought I was like the king of follow-up. I mean, that guy just won't go to bed. He won't go to bed until he gets what he wants. And you have to be that way, right? Your first question was talking about how competitive New York is. How do you stay competitive? And for him, it's just, absolutely not giving up. And I do a deal with Luis this year on season 3, and it's the first deal I've ever done with him. And the cameras followed us, and they watched the whole thing, and I really got to know him. And he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's the kind of guy that would step in front of a bus for you.
Well, Ryan, I greatly appreciate you being on my show. And again, we've been talking with Ryan Serhant, star of $1 Million Listing New York. That show airs every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. Ryan, real quick for the audience, because we do have the Tampa based, a lot of New York-based people here in Tampa. Give out your contact information for the audience, so in case they need a real estate broker up in New York.
Sure. The best way to contact me is going to be email. And my email is Ryan, RYAN as in Nancy, at nestseekers.com. And that's nest as in bird's nest, seekers, like you're going to seek something out. So SEEKERS as in Sam.com.
Great. Ryan, thank you very much for being on the show, and greatly looking forward to the 3rd season of $1 Million Listing again every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. Ryan, enjoy the rest of your week, and good luck with real estate up there in New York.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Back in a moment, and we're going to be talking with co-host Melissa Stoddard about title insurance and some other need-to-know information about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Please stay tuned.
The Mosaic Company helps the world grow the food it needs, but their work doesn't stop there. Each and every year, Mosaic reclaims thousands of acres to create parks, wetlands, and wildlife habitats. At Mosaic, they live the values of Earth Day every day. Learn more at mosaicco.com.
Introducing An American Story with Tom Brokaw. Award-winning journalist and author Tom Brokaw covers newsworthy current events, historic figures, and notable moments in history that impact the lives of Americans today.
Here's something to look forward to when you're not listening to the radio. Fargo, that classic Minnesota film, is coming to television as a whodunit series. I admit it's one of my all-time favorites. It was brought to us by the Coen brothers, who grew up in Minnesota. Their ears and eyes were tuned into the language and the lifestyle. I also like the idea of getting more of America's rich regional culture on the big screen. Nebraska, the film, was a smash. I've lived in Minnesota, and I have friends there who didn't like the original Fargo, thinking it mocked them. Not me. Margie, as the sensible, persistent, and pregnant sheriff, oh geez, Margie, and her husband Norm competing in the duck stamp runoff. It doesn't get much more Minnesota than that. You betcha. I'm Tom Brokaw. This is An American Story.
Don't let termites kick you out of your home. Earth's Best Natural Pest Management offers effective orange oil treatment that kills termites and termite eggs while you stay home. Be one of the first 10 callers and receive a free termite inspection along with a 20% discount. Call Earth's Best at 800-634-1313. 800-634-1313. No move-outs, no worry about your pets or plants. Call now for your 20% discount and free termite inspection. 800-634-1313.
Attention annuity owners, stop wasting thousands of dollars every year in fees. Do a tax-free exchange of your current annuity and save thousands every year. No commissions, no lockup periods. Complete access to your money from day one. Go to NoCommissionAnnuity.com and see the difference. NoCommissionAnnuity.com.
This report is brought to you by Hammer Mill Paper. When you want to look your best on paper, step up to the professional quality of Hammer Mill Color Copy Digital Paper. You'll get sharper images, brilliant colors, and professional-looking results. Hammer Mill Color Copy Digital is the difference between blending in and standing out.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center, they are clearing an earlier accident from westbound on I-4 west of McIntosh, not causing a delay now. Still have a crash investigation continuing northbound on I-75 on the service road. It's between US 301 and the Selman. There's a wreck on Lithia Pinecrest past Stearns Road and medical activity at Waters and Sheldon. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abramson and Udor Hillsborough. Traffic tip line at 866-545-9595.
1250 winds, Weather Center forecast. I'll see those highs today reach the lower, even some mid-80s. We're in the 80-degree mark around 11 a.m. this morning. Quick warm-up. It's up to 86 in Brandon, same for Zephyr Hills. 84 Clearwater, Tampa 82 degrees. Sunshine mixed with some clouds. We'll see winds last throughout the day and small chance of showers towards the end of the afternoon. Lows down to 70, and that's pretty much our high for tomorrow. We'll see cloud cover, windy conditions, 80% chance of rain, and low 70s, near 70 degrees. Cool day on Wednesday, upper 60s. Then we'll see that climb back to around 80 by Friday. Wall Street, Dow's down 134, NASDAQ off 51. The S&P index read by 17, down to 16,277. 1250 wins, WHNZ.
You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find this show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in each week as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. In the first half of the show, we were talking with Ryan Serhant. He is a real estate broker up in New York City, and he's also the star of $1 Million Listing New York, which airs every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. That was a great conversation. I wish I had more time with him. Unfortunately, he only had 30 minutes to be on this show today, but I definitely will be inviting him back on the air in the future, as I feel he is a great mentor for being a top-level producer in a very competitive market such as New York City. In studio with me, Stella Giudicelli is also here, and also Melissa Stoddard, a regular expert contributor with Stewart Title. Melissa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jamie. How are you?
Doing great. How was the weekend?
It was good, nice and relaxing.
Great. Now, Stella, I saw you taking notes and everything with the interview with Ryan. I know you like to learn from so many different people.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of your takeaways from the interview? What did you find most impressive there?
Well, first of all, I love that he wakes up at 4:30 a.m. and goes to the gym.
I figured you would like something, like that level of dedication to get up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the gym.
Well, that's actually what I do too. So I was like, yes, at least I have that in common. It does give you a great energy for the day, so I'm with him on that. And then, I just liked how he considered every listing as kind of a new enterprise and would look at it and redo the whole marketing and do something personalized. So what else do I have? Direct mail and the fact that, people are stuck onto their phones, and life and communication is so different today. And it's just, again, so impersonal, how do you say, impersonal?
Impersonal.
So a little note, I'm all for that as well. So it was all great reminders.
Now, Melissa, you also watched the show and everything. What did you take away? What did you most enjoy about $1 Million Listing and Ryan?
I like their competitiveness, how they have friendly but serious, just their dynamics together are pretty impressive, just watching that show. And the different markets that we're in, you know, us being Florida, them being New York, the different values of there compared to here. So it's just nice to hear another perspective of another person in another area talking about real estate.
Yeah.
And they're feeling the same, I think, push that we are, where real estate's really growing and our market's coming back. So it's all positive. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I've watched the show for the last 2 and now into the third season. And also there's a $1 million listing out in Los Angeles. And there's also now going to be $1 million listing in Miami that's in production.
Yeah, I heard that. Yep.
So unfortunately, I'm in Tampa, not in Miami, so I'm not going to have any shot of being on that show. But very interesting, very interested to find out who the brokers are going to be down in Miami. There are several top level producing brokers that are in our company, and so waiting to see if they become stars of the show. But definitely an exciting thing to be a part of. Something a reality show based around what you do in real estate.
I agree.
But I like to also watch the show because it highlights the differences between what I do in real estate and what he does. And because I'm a foreclosure sales broker, and he is obviously a luxury top producing broker in the most competitive real estate market in the country. And I myself work with bank sellers every single day, and he works with multi-million-dollar net worth people, and so it's completely different. I see him going out there doing broker opens, things like that. That's one thing we don't do here in Tampa too often, the broker open, and that's just when you get a new listing, you send out invitations to all the brokers, and then you have like an open house just for the brokers. You don't see that too often in Tampa, but it seems to be a central point of what they do up in New York City. It's a big event that a lot of brokers look forward to when a new listing hits the market. I think you see it sometimes on the higher end down here in Tampa, but it's very underutilized form of marketing in Tampa Bay.
I think what it is too, I mean, there's brokers open every Wednesdays in Tampa, but the way that he does it is obviously, as a huge event. And I think that's, he just takes everything that everyone has standardized and make it differently, and I think that's a huge difference too. Yeah, and it's also representative of the price point that he is at. But even in Tampa is a higher price point. We just don't see too many broker opens. It's a different every real estate market is different, and they have their different customs and practices. And when you become involved in real estate in a different in a city, you got to learn the culture of the brokers. If I was to pack up shop and go to Miami, my practices and cultures and customs probably wouldn't translate to the Miami market, and I can guarantee you they definitely would not translate to the New York market. And so that's just one of the differences that I see, and one of the reasons why I enjoy the $1 Million Listing show is it highlights the differences that in the same business that we're in, but it's completely a different daily routines that we're involved in. Another thing, I deal with, cash or keys. I deal with tenants in properties. I have to deal with evictions, property inspections, billing on these properties, and utilities. When you manage bank properties, you got to pay the bills for them and submit them for reimbursement. We got to deal with city and county and HOA violations. And so I've always said it'd be an interesting show to have REO bank listing, show instead of $1 million listing. Don't know if that'll ever happen, but it would definitely be an entertaining show, because I can tell you, as I've told several stories here on the air of some of the things that we've gotten ourselves involved in with these bank properties, it would definitely be an entertaining show, but we'll see if that comes up here in the future.
You're dealing with that, and they're dealing with staging $1 million home, spending $30,000 in one day to put furniture in it.
Yeah, it's definitely an entertaining job that I'm in. Unfortunately, every single day I get 20 new problems handed to me, and I never know quite what to expect. And every property comes to me has its own flavor and its own set of problems, and you just got to take the good with the bad, and fortunately I've made a good career out of doing it. And but again, I definitely like to watch brokers in other cities and learn from them. And I feel Ryan is a great top producing agent. Something that I took out of the interview with him is his use of direct mail and the adding the personal touch back to the real estate and stuff, because when you're selling a person's home, you got to have that personal connection, and when you're also representing a buyer, you got to make a personal connection with them. And that's something I feel that in our region that's been removed from the real estate practice, and something that I want to look to develop for my own my own business as well. Would you not say, Stella?
Yeah, I encourage you to do so.
Want to market a couple of properties. Got some great deals on some properties here. One of them just come back on the market. So for the realtors that are out there listening to me, 6243 Osprey Lake Circle in Riverview in the Osprey Run Townhomes. That's a HUD property, and that's come back on the market, listed at $74,500. It is open to all bidders, so you can find that property at HUDHomestore.com, and it's a 2-bed, 2.5-bath house with 1,035 square feet. So I invite you over to HUD Home Store to take a quick look at that one, as a lot of people are taking a look at that one. Also, another one down in Bradenton at 3107 Bayshore Gardens, listed at $69,900. That one is open to owner-occupants only, but that one is also getting a lot of attention. So you'll find out from listening to me on the radio which properties are hot and which ones are not. So again, please tune into my show every Mondays at noon, as I will have deals of the week on my show. So Melissa, I want to talk a little bit more with you about yourself and your community involvement and your relationship and your job with Stewart Title. So tell me a little bit about yourself and some of the groups that you're involved in.
Well, I'm involved with WCR, Women Council Realtors. Obviously, I'm involved with GTAR and a whole bunch of other good core realtor-based groups. Those are my two core, I believe. But I've been a Florida native, actually lived in Tampa my entire life. Actually was born in Ybor City and moved to the West Tampa area when I was like 9 years old. And I've prior to coming to Stewart Title, I was in real estate for 18 years. So I kind of really I have a good grasp on what the market is doing today. History of Stewart Title, my history of Stewart Title, I've been there for about a year, and Stewart Title has celebrated their 120th year anniversary this year, which is a pretty big milestone for a title company. And we're not just a title company, we're actually the underwriter. So a lot of little title companies out here that you guys use, they are actually being underwritten by Stewart Title. So we have a plant here in Tampa. So I think it's...
Yeah, the Stewart Title brand has international reach.
Oh, yeah.
It's all across the country, and a lot of other title companies come to Stewart Title to underwrite, their title insurance policies, and something, that I feel is, very, very good thing with Stewart Title. And you're also a preferred provider for many of the banks out there, including Fannie Mae.
That's right, and we also are a HUD provider as well. That is correct. Stewart Title is in every city in every state and also 80 countries, so... I think we're a big deal.
Yeah, and for people that aren't familiar with what title insurance is, whenever you purchase a property, you want to obtain title insurance to make sure that you have clear, marketable title to the property, and so you don't move into the property and get a notice in the mail that there's a huge lien on the property, or an heir to a prior owner has a right to the property. And so title insurance protects you from these types of situations. So when you go to contract on a property, the title companies will run a lien search, title search, and municipal lien search, and they'll check to make sure that when you close on the property, you own the property with free and clear title with no surprises after closing. If something were to come up, though, after closing, as you know, things do slip through, the title insurance protects you from the life of the time that you own the property, and you pay an upfront fee and at closing, and you never pay for that fee again. And if something were to come up, the title company will then, the insurer will represent you in whatever legal proceedings are necessary. Am I accurate in
You're
describing?
100% accurate. And unlike other insurance, like auto insurance and home insurance, which are monthly charges, title insurance is a one-time fee, and it is required. So it's not like you can go in unless you buy a property cash. You have to have title insurance. It's a requirement from every lender out there to have title insurance, because they want to insure their interest in the property as well, to make sure that there's no liens.
And it's very important. And title insurance, if you're buying cash or buying from an auction, it's not something you have to get. It's required if you have a lender involved. But it's something for the investors out there that are buying these properties at auction and the bank properties that I sell, it's highly advisable to purchase a title insurance policy. And I always recommend that they even get them reviewed by a secondary attorney as well, because one person's opinion may not be the opinion of another, and you may need to clean something up prior to closing while the seller is still involved. Very true with the bank-owned properties that I sell, as they are a haven for litigation and legal issues, and every single property I sell seems to have some type of title defect. Everything's correctable, but you need to deal with it prior to closing. So it's very important that you purchase title insurance, and my regular contributor, Melissa Stoddard with Stewart Title, can definitely set you up with a great title insurance policy. Melissa, real quick for the audience, if you'd give out your contact information and the website for Stewart Title, please.
Sure. My contact information or my direct phone number is 813-230-1863. You can also reach me by email, melissa.stoddard@stewart.com, which is also on Jamie's website. And Stewart's website is www.stewart.com/Tampa.
And they do a great job, and they've represented my buyers and many of my REO properties through the 7 or so years that I've been in the business, so they come highly recommended. So again, please reach out to Melissa Stoddard, and if you didn't get her contact information there, you can always reach out to me through my website, tampabayradio.com, and I have another website, tampabayreo.com, so that's where you'll find all of my listings, and you can reach out to me through the contact form on either of those two websites. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon. Please stay tuned. Be back in a moment.
Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off the air, you get me on my websites. I mentioned in the prior segment, tampabayradio.com. That's my show website. And in my listings, you'll find at tampabayreo.com. And I'm actually in the process of redesigning my site and merging those two sites. So there'll be a lot of great information at those sites and combined into one site here in the next few weeks, as I expect that to be done very soon. For all the potential home sellers in the Tampa Bay real estate market, I offer a free home valuation. Just text the word value to my cell phone at 813-760-8516. Again, text the word value to 813-760-8516. So I have a question for Melissa, if it's okay. Melissa, sure. I'd like you to elaborate on this. So Stewart Title is also an underwriter, and most people will go to you for that. What does that mean to a client?
It means
I believe it's an extra layer of security for the client that you are the underwriter.
Here's where there could be an issue. Let's say you have a buyer and they buy a home and they go to a title company, ABC Title Company. Mm-hmm. They end up wanting to refinance their home and they can't find their title insurance policy. ABC Title is no longer in business.
Right.
Stewart Title is the underwriter. So if they're savvy enough, they can go to their policy. A lot of times they just go to their HUD, their settlement statement, to see who the title company was. But if they're savvy enough to go to their actual policy, they can contact Stewart Title any capacity, and we can help them reissue credit or provide them with their title policy again. So it's almost like going through a mortgage broker or going through a direct lender. So we would be considered the direct source for title insurance instead of using a middleman for title, because we underwrite and we provide the service.
Right, and Stewart Title is a very established and sound company, so they're pretty much sure if they go straight to you that if there's anything, you're going to be there for them, and you're the one who did the title insurance for them, so it would just be easier.
It's easier than going through. There's only 3 direct underwriters here
Okay.
locally. So
Mhm.
Stewart happens to be one of them.
Okay, thank you.
And another thing I like about Stewart Title is you all have a transaction-based website, or it keeps you up to date on all the transactions.
That's right.
And I know, dealing with the hundreds of title companies that I've come to deal with through the years, I think you're the only one that has that. I think there's one other that I saw out there. But you can go into the transaction manager and keep up to date with all of the documents and what's going on with the approvals.
That is correct. You can also load that on your cell phone for free. It's Stewart My Files. So if you're a realtor and you're traveling out of the country, you can stay up to date on what's going on with your transaction 24/7.
Very good, very good. That's something that I reference a lot, and something that I see of a lot of value with Stewart Title. So again, I appreciate you coming in and speaking with the audience.
My
and
pleasure.
Telling us a little bit more about yourself and Stewart Title. And again, Melissa Stoddard, a regular contributor to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. A couple things I always like to mention in all my shows. I'm a Fannie Mae direct broker, and they've extended their 3.5% closing cost assistance offer to homeowners. It had expired at the end of March there, but that's been extended to the end of April. So if you go to homepath.com, that's the site where you can find all of the Fannie Mae properties. You can now get 3.5% closing cost assistance on properties if you purchase them as an owner-occupant during the first look period, and you have to request the assistance with the initial offer. The first look period is a initial 20-day period when the properties are first listed by Fannie Mae that give priority to just into And again, the investors are not eligible to bid, so that enables a buyer to get into a property with financing as opposed to competing up against a lot of cash offers. And they, along with Freddie Mac, another government sponsored entity that we represent, they also have a 20-day initial list period for owner occupants, as does HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, as I am also a HUD direct broker. And a great thing to know about the HUD properties is that all properties in the state of Florida qualify for $100 down instead of the normal 3.5% down that you have to put down with an FHA loan. So it's something that a lot of people aren't aware of, and it's something that's not marketed very well by HUD or the other real estate brokers. So I try to get the word out as much as possible on my show. And again, you can find all the HUD properties at hudhomestore.com. And again, all properties, I think, except with the exception of mobile homes, as I had that issue come up on one of my closings that did not qualify for the $100 down, although the website does say that they all do qualify for $100 down. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't mean that you're going to show up to closing with just $100. You're going to have your other closing costs added on top of the closing, but you can substitute the 3.5% down payment for the $100. And again, you can get information on this at hudhomestore.com. And another great thing about HUD properties is the ability for people that are in special groups such as teachers, firefighters, emergency responders, they can buy properties during the lottery period at hudhomestore.com for 50% off the appraised value. And again, to find these properties, if you go to hudhomestore.com and in the buyer type, if you select Good Neighbor Next Door, and you can see which properties are available, you can buy these properties at 50% off the appraised value. The only problem I see with that program is that there's just not a lot of inventory available on the market, and the properties that do come available for that program, they're usually, people miss them because they are not in the MLS, because they do not offer selling agent commissions, so they can't go in the MLS because there's no offer of compensation. That's a rule of the MLS. And so the only way that you're going to know about them as a buyer is to constantly monitor the HUD website and try to find these properties as they hit the market. So a recommendation that I always give to people that are in the teacher, firefighter, or emergency responder group, when you begin to look for a home, make sure you allow yourself sufficient time to find one of these properties. You want to begin your home search probably at least a year in advance before you'll see one of these properties pop up. And again, you have to make the offer during that lottery period. That's an initial 7-day bid period when the property is first listed at hudhomestore.com. And then you bid full list price on the property, and then you get a 50% discount on the property. But I've listed HUD properties now for 4 years, and I still have not seen anybody take advantage of this program. And I think it's a great opportunity for the right person out there. And again, some great information that you can get here on the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show. Again, that you'll hear every Mondays at noon. So, had a great weekend. I'm getting ready to get out of here. Just wanted to follow up with one last comment here. Watch, getting old now, watch WrestleMania over the weekend. And for people that always, make fun of the fact that I still watch, professional wrestling, it's a soap opera for us men. And last night was WrestleMania. And unfortunately, my childhood icon, The Undertaker, who had went on for 21 consecutive WrestleManias, is undefeated, was defeated last night for the first time. So it was a blow to my childhood and a complete shock to everybody in professional wrestling. And, I saw one tweet from, one person that, said, oh, everybody's surprised, that The Undertaker lost. Well, wait till they find out that wrestling is fake. I've known that, and I find it entertaining, but that is a soap opera for men that I've come to enjoy through the years. And it's unfortunate, The Undertaker, now that he is probably 50-some years old, he shows up every year for WrestleMania, and unfortunately he lost for the first time. So within the wrestling world, it is a big deal, and a lot of people were shocked to see that last night. And I myself, greatly disappointed and kind of beginning to realize that I'm getting up there in age, and some of the things that, were important to me as a kid are now, beginning to transition, outside of my life. So probably the last WrestleMania I'll ever watch is The Undertaker will no longer probably be at WrestleMania. And it's unfortunate, that he lost to Brock Lesnar, of all people, a former MMA fighter. He went from professional wrestling over to, MMA, became a champion over there. And in MMA, that is real. But he came back over to professional wrestling, and he shows up about once a year. And it's just unfortunate that he, got the victory over The Undertaker. And that for people that watch professional wrestling, that is an iconic streak. And the fact that, he, was the one to get the victory, I think was a wasted marketing piece by the WWE. And part of me also feels that The Undertaker just decided to go out, at that point, and had made the decision, as the finish was kind of flopped, I thought. And I think Brock Lesnar himself looked a little surprised that he got the 3 count on The Undertaker. So just a little bit of personal information about me. I like to, divulge a lot of facts and information, but I also like the audience to kind of get to know a little bit more about me and some of my, exploits outside of the real estate business. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find this show on every Mondays at noon. So I invite you to please tune in, as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off air, you can get me at my websites, again, Tampa Bay Radio or TampaBayREO.com, and phone 813-760-8516. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your week.
The opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the preceding program are not